I was reborn to the day I confessed my feelings to my childhood sweetheart. Amidst the cheers surrounding us, he looked at me, his eyes swollen red from crying, and asked coldly, "Daisy Lamb, is making a scene that much fun?" Then, he turned to cast a gentle gaze at the luminous girl beside him. "Wait for me a moment. I'll come find you once I'm done here." He chided me with an annoyed tone. "Why do you love crying so much? If you have time, read more books. Don't spend all your time thinking about romance and such." Irritated, I shoved him away, lunging at the person standing behind him, the school's top dog, who was clearly enjoying the show. "Husband." I hugged the person in my arms, sobbing uncontrollably. 18 years old, Ryan G. was still alive. Everything was still in time. Before he died, Ryan held my hand and Pinky promised me to live until I was 100 before coming to find him. I had agreed. Yet, as soon as I turned my back, I lied to him. 3 days later, I was 44 when I went to find him. Before closing my eyes, I even concocted a reason for myself. When I met him, I'd tell him I'd dreamt he was down there, flirting with other female spirits. In truth, I hadn't dreamt at all. Without him, I couldn't even sleep. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself back at 18. I was clutching a bouquet of flowers, the surrounding cheers and encouragement echoing boisterously, unending. "Confess! Confess!" The crowd surged, but my eyes immediately found the dazzling blonde hair in the dimly lit corner. He stood there, unnoticed by anyone, his hazy gaze sweeping over me, both indifferent and deliberate. I looked at him, and tears immediately streamed down my face, uncontrollable. Just as I was about to speak, Alan Shen's voice rang out. "Daisy Lamb, is making a scene that much fun?" In that instant, I finally recognized the person standing before me. His brows were slightly furrowed, his expression detached. The vibrant atmosphere suddenly froze, until Iris Shu broke the awkward silence. "Alan, we need to confirm the acceptance speech." Alan tilted his head to look at her. "Wait for me a moment. I'll come find you once I'm done here." His eyes held a rare gentleness. Iris Shu was an academic ace, just like Alan Shen. Someone once joked that the two of them were a match made in heaven, the academic ace and the academic god. Iris Shu simply replied indifferently, "I'm not the type of girl whose head is only full of romance." At that moment, Alan Shen's gaze towards her held a rare appreciation. He had also told me that he didn't like girls who only had love on their minds. But that year, I was precisely that kind of girl. My head was entirely full of him. I even deluded myself into thinking that if I confessed on his birthday, he wouldn't make things difficult for me. It was much later that I understood what he hated most was being morally bound by me. Just like this very moment. He took the bouquet from my hands with a hint of impatience. "If you have time, read more books. Don't spend all your time thinking about romance and such." I stood there, stunned. The surrounding crowd began to murmur. "Look, Daisy Lamb's crying now. She's pursued Alan Shen for so many years, and she went from campus belle to a laughingstock." Sigh. I even feel embarrassed for her. In my past life, I truly sobbed uncontrollably from humiliation. But at this moment, my eyes only saw the blonde-haired boy in that hidden corner. I stared intently at him, my mouth slightly agape, but my trembling voice wouldn't come out. Tears just wouldn't stop flowing. Seeing me like this, Alan Shen frowned and sighed. "Daisy Lamb, why are you always crying?" I felt annoyed. He just kept talking and he was blocking my view. I forcefully pushed Alan Shen away, lunging straight towards the person whom I thought I had lost forever. "Husband. Husband, you're still alive. This is so good. Sniffle, sniffle." A warm chest, a familiar scent of sunshine. I hugged him, weeping silently. The person in my arms stiffened. "You're not. You've got the wrong person, haven't you?" His face flushed crimson, all the way to his ears. "Daisy Lamb, who are you calling husband?" Alan Shen's voice rang out from behind me, tinged with anger.
The same old trick. How many more times do you plan to use it?
He was right. In my past life, to make Alan jealous, I had often deliberately acted close with other male students. He would get angry, but then he'd casually coax me with a few words. Only this time, the target was the person he despised the most. A little hoodlum. I hugged Ryan G even tighter, crying more fiercely. Sniffle, sniffle, husband, you're really alive. I couldn't believe it. My hand snaked into his shirt, frantically checking his chest for the fatal wound from my past life. Ryan G was considerably startled by my actions. Hey, what are you doing? I sobbed as I replied, Take off your shirt, let me see for a moment. His face immediately turned bright red. I'm a decent person, don't you dare do anything improper, I cried even harder. Sniffle, sniffle, husband, I have to see. I beg you, just let me see for a moment. He was flustered, his hands not knowing where to go. Finally, he could only sigh helplessly, his voice dropping to a whisper.
All right. Wait until no one's around, okay?
Watching this scene, Alan Shen's eyes clearly showed his disgust.
Daisy Lamb, in front of everyone like this, aren't you ashamed? This time, I won't coax you anymore.
With that, he turned and left. The surrounding crowd also silently dispersed.
All right, Missy, is the act over? Aren't you going to let go yet?
A voice from above my head drifted down, carrying a hint of mockery. I just shook my head, hugging his neck tightly, sobbing with hiccups. I won't let go, not for my whole life. 18-year-old Daisy Lamb didn't have a broken leg and wasn't suffering from depression. 18-year-old Ryan G hadn't yet taken a knife for her. Everything was still in time. Ryan G couldn't believe it, and he threatened, So, should I go outside? He picked me up and carried me out of the classroom. As soon as we stepped out, the homeroom teacher's voice rang out. Hey, Ryan G, aren't you supposed to be practicing? Why are you hugging a girl and acting like a ruffian? I still held on to him tightly, not letting go. Seeing that I didn't react at all, Ryan G blushed and tried to explain. Reporting, teacher! The girl has a broken leg. I'm carrying her down to the infirmary. The homeroom teacher's voice softened. You rascal, you actually have a bit of heart. Suddenly, I remembered that in my past life, Ryan G was just like this. He carried me everywhere to get my leg examined, patiently accompanying me through every physical therapy session. When everyone had gone far away, he looked at me, his face full of helplessness. Hey, Missy, what kind of act are you pulling now? I still refused to release my hands from his neck. Husband. He shivered at the sound, gritting his teeth as he said, Don't call me husband. Who's your husband? But you are my husband. I pouted indignantly, my voice small. My dearest husband, I love you most in the world. Ryan G looked like he was about to explode, lowering his voice to remind me, Missy, do you remember who threw away my love letter yesterday? I immediately stiffened. It really was such an ill-timed moment. Ryan G had once confessed to me, but back then, I had coldly stomped on the letter beneath my feet and said, I hate those muscle-headed types, without a shred of common sense like you. Thinking back, I was just a flexible dance student, but my brain wasn't any better than anyone else's. Actually, I didn't truly hate Ryan G that much. It was Alan Shen who hated him, so I just caught his hate by association. Alan Shen despised all fools, especially types like Ryan G. Terrible at studies yet still swaggering around school. I blinked, trying to appear sincere as I explained, About that, yesterday, I was just trying to test you. Then I promised, Hubby, from now on, I'll only love you. Ryan G's mouth twitched slightly. Could you please stop calling me hubby? I shook my head decisively. No way. He gritted his teeth, finally sighing in defeat. Fine, call me whatever you want. Seeing me hug his neck like a koala, he sighed. But hey, Daisy Lamb, you're a human, not a monkey. Can you please get off me? I giggled. But I want to hug you a little longer, my dear hubby. His Adam's apple bobbed slightly, and his ears turned crimson. 18-year-old Ryan G., truly adorable and cool in such a naive way. Ryan G. turned and carried me to Grandpa G's house. The old man was sitting at the alley entrance, fortune-telling for people, always appearing mysterious and mystical every day.
"Grandpa, it seems she's possessed."
Grandpa G. stroked his beard, glancing at me.
Eyes this bloodshot, she's definitely been clinging to something."
As he spoke, he pulled out a yellow paper talisman and handed it to me.
"Keep this talisman with you. It'll ward off evil and prevent misfortune."
Ryan G. set me down outside the door, instructing,
"Wait for me a moment. Don't follow me. I'll be right back."
But I didn't listen, secretly trailing him to just outside the door. I only heard him lower his voice and ask, "Grandpa, I want to ask, is there a talisman that can keep her in this state forever?" My heart secretly swelled with joy. Good, I knew it! You were already head over heels for me, completely smitten. Ryan G. in this life let me run towards you. I lived in the Shen family's house. Our two families had a long-standing relationship, and our engagement had been set since childhood. When I was 10, my parents passed away in an accident. Alan Shen clasped my hand tightly. "Xiaoye, you still have me. I'll always be by your side." I moved into the Shen family home, and his parents treated me very well. I had learned dance since childhood, and his mother had hired the best teachers for me. My wardrobe was overflowing with beautiful clothes bought by Mrs. Shen, but no matter how kind they were, I wasn't their child. They originally saw me as their future daughter-in-law. Until I broke my leg and couldn't walk normally, they began to feel that such a daughter-in-law wouldn't be presentable. They told me, "Xiaoye, we've always treated you like our own daughter. Xiaoyi also only sees you as a biological sister. Don't worry, we'll definitely find you a good husband." At the dining table, Mr. and Mrs. Shen scooped food onto my plate, asking about my studies. Recalling their words from my previous life, I only found it ridiculous. I put down my bowl and chopsticks. "Mr. Shen, Mrs. Shen, I want to stay in the school dormitory. That way I can focus more on my studies. You know I'm not good at academic subjects." They were a little surprised. "The school dormitories have such poor conditions. How can you stay there?" "Xiaoye, don't put too much pressure on yourself. Xiaoyi is good at studying, just let him tutor you." I calmly shook my head. "No need. He's busy with competitions lately. I don't want to bother him." Mrs. Shen seemed to realize something. "Are you two arguing?" Alan Shen said nothing. I just smiled. "Not at all. He treats me very well, and I've always seen him as a biological brother," I continued. "In the future, he will definitely find an excellent girl just like him to be your daughter-in-law, Mr. and Mrs. Shen." Alan Shen's gaze froze. He looked at me. I wasn't in the mood to eat, so I stood up and returned to my room. But even lying on the bed, the familiar feeling of sleepless nights from my previous life flooded over me. Back then, my depression was very severe, and every day I had to rely on sleeping pills just to get some rest. It wasn't until I was with Ryan G. that I gradually began to heal. Those who suffer from insomnia always feel anxious and uncomfortable. I resolutely got up and went to the living room to pour a glass of water. Unexpectedly, I ran into Alan Shen there. "Eat something. I saw you hardly ate anything tonight." He brought a bowl of chicken wontons, my favorite, and placed it in front of me. "Are you still angry about what happened during the day?" He squatted in front of me, sighing helplessly. "I'm just upset that you're already in your final year of high school and not focusing on your studies." Seeing that I remained silent, he reached out and ruffled my hair. "All right, don't be angry anymore, He let out another gentle, helpless laugh. "You silly girl." He was always like that. When I felt wronged, he would gently say a few comforting words. And I was truly foolish, forgiving him again and again, deceiving myself into thinking that he liked me, because he treated me gently, doing small things that seemed so caring. Seeing me still silent, he lightly stroked my hair again, his voice full of doting affection. "Tell me, will our child be as silly as you in the future?" In my previous life, he had said this very same line. At the time, I was incredibly touched, thinking he had dreamt of our future. But I never expected that it was just a casual remark after he and Iris Shu received an award, when a teacher had once exclaimed, If these two get together in the future, their children will surely be very intelligent. He never thought about marrying me or having children with me. He only worried that if he were with me, it would affect the intelligence of the next generation. I curled my lips into a smile, looking at him. Don't worry, we won't have children in the future. Alan Shen let out a breath, frowning. Daisy Lamb, I'm very busy too. I don't have time to coddle your temperamental moods. I smiled faintly, calmly replying, There won't be any more in the future. Alan Shen didn't try to coax me anymore, turning and returning to his room. I left the house with dark circles under my eyes, went straight to Ryan G's door, and banged loudly. Ryan G's parents were divorced. He lived alone in the house near the school. The door opened, and without hesitation, I lunged straight into his arms. Hubby, I want to sleep with you. You. He was stunned, his hands raised as if he didn't know what to do. No, Daisy Lamb, I don't offer that kind of service. Without you, I can't sleep. I hugged him tightly, my voice filled with exhaustion and choked emotion. Hubby, I really want to sleep. He went crazy, muttering and cursing, Sleep, sleep, sleep! And so, I successfully entered his bedroom. As soon as I lay down on the bed, he grabbed a pillow, intending to go to the living room. I quickly pulled his hand back. Where are you going? To sleep on the sofa. No way, you have to sleep with me. I clutched his hand, my voice a pitiful whine. If you're not here, I can't sleep, hubby. In my previous life, Ryan G was my very own teddy bear. With him beside me, I always slept soundly, feeling utterly safe and at peace. I continued to cling to him, whimpering, refusing to let go. He was so furious his face flushed crimson. He lay stiffly on the bed, rigid as a board. Fine, sleep. It's not my disadvantage anyway. He gritted his teeth. Let me tell you, I'm a thug. There's nothing I won't dare to do. His words were threats, yet his face was flushed crimson as he turned his head away, putting as much distance between us as the bed allowed. I smiled in contentment, snuggling closer and wrapping my arms around him from behind. My hand instinctively slid downwards. He was clutching his blanket when he suddenly jolted upright. Daisy Lamb, where do you think you're touching? I lowered my head, my voice full of feigned grievance. I only feel safe when I'm holding you. You'll feel safe, but what about me? He clutched himself tightly, looking like a thoroughly chaste and conservative young man. Sometimes I really wanted to report myself to the police, but you clearly loved sleeping naked, hugged in my arms. He gaped at me, eyes wide with disbelief. What? When did I ever like sleeping like that? Ever since we were together. After we got married, Ryan started to prefer sleeping in the nude, even insisting I join him. He even called it skin on skin, the most comfortable way to hug. To be fair, it really was comfortable. Ryan stared at me with utter suspicion, his mind clearly a flurry of question marks. Daisy Lamb, are you possessed by some succubus? Do you need to absorb men's yang energy to survive? So, can I absorb yours? His face immediately flushed, and he seriously rejected me. Don't even dream of it. I'm telling you, I'm a model student. Absolutely no early dating for me. But if I can't hug you to sleep, I really can't sleep, I pouted, my voice on the verge of tears. Hubby. His eyes flashed with an internal struggle. All right, just hugs, okay? He looked utterly exasperated, yet helpless. All right, just consider me begging you. I remembered clearly that I only officially got together with Ryan when I was 25. Who would have thought that the charming ladies' man Ryan G would become in adulthood was so incredibly innocent at just 18? He was drop-dead adorable. 18 was an age of both innocence and overflowing vitality. A naive yet diligent young man, truly the type to make any older sister swoon. It truly was hard to restrain myself. So, can I just take a peek? Look at what? He reacted as if I'd stepped on his tail, his ears flushed crimson, his eyes wide with panic. Daisy Lamb, do you even still have any shame? Tisk! You just don't understand. Isn't 28 the age when a woman is like a ravenous wolf or a tigress? I bit my lip, my voice a whiny lament. Hubby. Calling me dad won't help either. He quickly rolled me tightly into the blanket like a human burrito, then pinned me down from the outside, preventing me from moving. Sleep, and stop calling me hubby. I obediently nodded. All right, hubby. He. No, all right, classmate Ryan G. The familiar scent, the familiar heartbeat. My Ryan was truly back. Gazing at his 18-year-old self, I softly said, Classmate Ryan G., I'm not possessed. I actually came from 10 years in the future. I'm Daisy Lamb at 28 years old. Why don't you just say you're a celestial fairy who descended to the mortal world? It's true, I really did come from 10 years in the future, he replied with a dismissive tone. All right, if you say you came from Mars, I'll believe that too. You don't believe me, do you? I thought for a moment, then lowered my voice to a whisper. You have a mole. Down there. He suddenly stiffened, his face revealing utter shock. Damn it, Daisy Lamb, when did you peak? I chuckled softly. 7 years later. He hesitated for a few seconds, then asked again, Are you really from 10 years in the future? Unable to hide his surging curiosity, he continued to ask, So, in 10 years, will I win the world championship? Of course. By 20, you were already a world champion. At 25, you achieved a grand slam. No one in the entire world could swim faster than you. Damn, I'm that amazing? He was slightly flushed with excitement and pressed on. What about you? Did you also become a famous dancer? I lowered my head, my voice barely a whisper. Of course. Did we get married? His voice held a hint of apprehension mixed with eager anticipation. Yes, we started dating right after high school graduation. The year you won the world championship, you proposed to me in front of the entire world. His eyes shone brightly as he pressed on. So, do we have a child yet? I smiled and nodded. Yes, after we both reached the pinnacle of our respective fields, you announced your retirement at 28. I gradually transitioned from the stage to the lecture hall. That year, we had a child. I tried to hold back the sudden stinging sensation in my nose. In truth, the year he won the world championship, he didn't propose to me at all. My life had drifted by in a haze, chaotic and amounted to nothing. The 25-year-old Daisy Lamb was pulled out of the abyss by Ryan, but she, in turn, dragged him down into a dark chasm with her. Fortunately, at our 18 years old, there was still time to change everything. That sleep was truly refreshing, and my mood felt much lighter. When I woke, Ryan had already gone out for his morning training. He had been practicing swimming since he was 7 or 8, for over a decade, day in and day out, constantly pushing his own limits. This level of hardship truly paled in comparison to difficult nights of studying. When I arrived at class, I just happened to run into our homeroom teacher. Perfect timing, Daisy. Graduation is just around the corner. How's the practice for your performance coming along? I was momentarily dazed. Before I could even respond, my desk mate spoke up first. Teacher, Daisy is an incredible dancer. The choreography for our class's performance is looking fantastic. Add Alan Shen's solo piano accompaniment, and the audience is sure to be wowed. Our class will definitely win first place. The teacher nodded in satisfaction. Good, then make sure to squeeze in some extra practice. Only then did it dawn on me that the graduation ceremony was indeed drawing near. All the female students in our class were going to perform a group dance. Our homeroom teacher had entrusted us with this important task, saying it was a rare opportunity for the whole class to relax and bond a little. That's why everyone was at the dance studio practicing. The chosen piece was a classical dance, performed by all the female students. Alan Shen was to provide piano accompaniment and sing backup from the wings. Alan Shen had been exceptionally skilled at the piano since he was little, and his singing voice was quite good as well. I really wanted our class to win this honor, so I had to plead with him for a long time before he finally agreed. However, at that moment, in the practice room, Iris Shu arrived late yet again. A classmate couldn't help but make a sarcastic remark. Hey Iris, our resident academic ace, must the whole class always wait for you? Couldn't you be a little less selfish and consider the rest of us for once? Iris Shu, unperturbed, replied, Excuse me, the principal just called for me. He told Alan Shen and me to prepare a speech as outstanding representatives for the graduation ceremony. Her voice was neither loud nor soft, but it exuded an air of smug superiority. Someone nearby muttered softly, "What's there to brag about?" After Iris Shu joined the group, I continued with our previous practice session. "All right, let's review yesterday's moves, then we'll combine them with Alan Shen's piano accompaniment." Everyone danced quite well, except Iris Shu, who still couldn't keep up with the rhythm. At this point, dissatisfaction began to spread. "Hey, Iris, what's wrong with you? You couldn't get these moves yesterday, and you said you'd practice more at home, but you still can't keep up today?" "Exactly. Can you please stop holding the whole class back? Aren't top students supposed to learn everything quickly? How can you not even manage such simple moves?" Everyone grumbled ceaselessly. A flicker of annoyance crossed Iris Shu's face. She replied coldly, "It's just a small program for the graduation ceremony. What right does it have to take up my study time?" She paused, then emphasized, "Before you criticize others, you'd better look at your own academic performance. What gives you the right to waste your youth here like this? What's the point of dancing this? Does it add any points to your college entrance exams?" My anger immediately flared up. "Iris Shu, it's obvious you came late and haven't practiced the moves well. Why are you blaming others?" She let out a cold laugh. "Daisy Lamb, it's obvious you just want to stand out. Why are you dragging others into being your backdrop?" Someone couldn't hold back and spoke loudly. "This is a collective honor. How did it turn into Daisy Lamb just wanting to stand out? She's a dance student. If we don't let her lead, are we supposed to let someone who messes up steps like you do it?" Hearing this, everyone burst out laughing. Iris Shu's face went pale, but she still uttered a disdainful remark indifferently. "I don't want to argue with you people. It's truly pointless." This single sentence infuriated everyone. In truth, Iris Shu never really got along with her classmates. She once arrogantly declared, "I don't like hanging out with girls. Girls are too scheming. I'm not like them." She truly wasn't like us. When the whole class was secretly reading meaningless romance novels, she would be engrossed in a collection of Tagore's poetry in English. When the teacher asked her to share how she solved a math problem, she would write down a series of complex formulas, then emphasize, "These are calculus formulas. You won't learn them until university. I'm sure only Alan Shen can understand them." Many of the female students in class felt she was putting on too much of a show. But Alan Shen saw her as a kindred spirit. In fact, Alan Shen even believed I was the one leading the isolation and bullying of Iris Shu. Whenever Alan Shen spoke up to defend her, she would simply say nonchalantly, "Oh, just let it go. It's not worth arguing with idiots." This only made Alan Shen admire her even more. Someone once said, people like Alan Shen, a genuine academic ace, only liked girls who were intellectually on par with them. The kind of affection they pursued was intellectual connection, and in his eyes, I was merely a simple-minded art student. I couldn't be bothered. I simply clapped my hands and smiled faintly. "In that case, Iris Shu, you don't need to dance anymore." Staring at her, I curled my lips into a sarcastic smile. After all, the way you dance is truly comical. The entire practice room once again erupted in loud laughter. "You!" Iris Shu was so angry she couldn't utter a word. Beside her, Alan Shen could no longer stand by and watch. "Daisy Lamb, how can you speak so harshly?" I curled my lips into a cold smile. "Harshly, you say?" In my past life, when my leg was broken, she used this exact tone to tell me, "Daisy Lamb, the way you walk is truly comical." I was simply mimicking her. Besides, her leg wasn't broken. A flicker of anger crossed Alan Shen's eyes. "How long are you going to keep bullying Iris Shu?" He stood in front of her, shielding her, and declared loudly, "Let me tell you, if she withdraws, I will withdraw too." Iris Shu was so touched her eyes reddened. "Alan Shen..." I gave a faint smile, completely unconcerned. "That's perfect then." In my past life, because Iris Shu didn't want me to stand out, she deliberately fell at Alan Shen's feet during the performance. Alan Shen instinctively helped her up. The music abruptly stopped. The entire performance fell into an awkward silence. Everyone panicked, unable to find the rhythm, and their movements became utterly chaotic. But Alan Shen's instinctive act of saving Iris Shu was praised by everyone. The two of them were originally excellent students and highly favored by the teachers. The teachers said that friendship comes first, competition is secondary, and praised Alan Shen's actions as an example for everyone to learn from. They even received a special award. When accepting the award, Iris Shu deliberately turned and waved at me. "Daisy, would you mind taking a photo for us?" The entire auditorium applauded them warmly. Iris Shu and Alan Shen beamed brightly. Meanwhile, the girls in our class quietly shed tears of resentment backstage. After Alan Shen and Iris Shu withdrew from the performance, the whole class was in an awkward situation due to the lack of musical accompaniment. "Daisy, if it doesn't work out, we can just play a backing track," someone suggested helplessly. I waved my hand. "It's fine. We have a replacement." In my past life, when I was severely depressed, Kai Ji would often hold me and sing softly into my ear. His singing voice was truly beautiful. Later, when my leg recovered, he was the one who encouraged me to rekindle my passion and step back onto the stage. I danced, and he accompanied me on the piano. Without hesitation, I took out my phone and called Kai Ji. "Classmate Kai Ji, our performance needs you for the piano accompaniment and lead vocals." Before he could even think, he blurted out, "I don't know how to do that." I immediately deployed my killer move. "Hubby, hubby, hubby! Shut up! Hubby! I'll be right there!" I couldn't help but burst out laughing. Seeing that reaction, he truly was no different from Pavlov's dog. Even if he was 100 times unwilling, Kai Ji still rushed over at lightning speed. When Alan Shen and Iris Shu found out, they were astonished and couldn't believe it. "How can Kai Ji possibly replace you and perform?" Alan Shen snorted disdainfully. "What good can an athlete possibly be at performing?" In his eyes, sports or arts were merely escape routes for poor students. However, those words of doubt did not dampen the class's enthusiasm. When the performance night began, the stage lights blazed brightly, and I led the female classmates in a graceful dance. Smooth piano melodies and a rich, warm singing voice rang out. The entire auditorium was stunned, then erupted in unison. The applause and cheers thundered like a storm. "Absolutely stunning. Our class is truly captivating." "That vocal, Consort Kai. What else have you been hiding from us? Sports committee member, why are you still swimming? You might as well just debut." As the performance ended, Ryan G walked over to me, a slightly smug expression on his face. "Well, I didn't embarrass you, did I?" As I looked at him, my eyes were filled with pink bubbles. "Hubby, you're the absolute best." He proudly lifted his chin. "Of course." Our performance received overwhelmingly positive feedback and, as expected, clinched the championship prize. Ryan and I were chosen to represent the school and accept the award on stage. The principal, a look of profound satisfaction on his face, said, "I never expected our first high school students to be so incredibly talented. In previous years, our school typically selected students with exceptional academic achievements to represent us, but our true focus is on holistic development, moral, intellectual, physical, and aesthetic. I believe that in the future, our students will truly shine in every field." He paused briefly, his gaze sweeping towards us. "Therefore, Daisy Lam and Ryan G, please come forward and deliver a speech on behalf of all our outstanding students." We were momentarily stunned by the unexpected request. My gaze darted below the stage. Iris Shu was clutching the speech she had prepared, her face a mask of bitter resentment. Alan Shen's gaze settled on us, his expression complex. Standing on stage, I took a deep breath and began my speech. "Hello, everyone. I'm Daisy Lam. My mother, when she was alive, was an outstanding classical dancer. Influenced by her, I embarked on this path at the age of 7. From the very first basic practices, through countless stumbles and getting back up, I never once thought of giving up. Dance not only taught me how to perform beautiful movements, but also a profound lesson in resilience, perseverance, and pursuing dreams to the very end. My dream is to get into the Beijing Dance Academy and win the championship of the Tioli Cup." Ryan G stepped forward, his tall figure appearing even more imposing. "Hello, everyone. I'm Ryan G., a sports student specializing in swimming. From the fear and despair of my first near-drowning incident at the age of 8, to the feeling of freedom like a fish swimming in water at 18, every day of training has been a dual challenge for my body and my will. Failure, pain, and self-doubt never made me give up, because I have a dream. He paused, his face, devoid of its usual playful demeanor, now serious, his eyes filled with determination. My dream is to get into Beijing Sport University and become an Olympic champion. Below the stage, the applause erupted like thunder. At 18, our unfinished dreams would finally come to fruition. After receiving the award and stepping off stage, the female classmates quickly swarmed us, eager to hug the trophy and take photos. "Let's find someone to take a group photo for us," a classmate suggested. I smiled, looking up towards Iris Shu and waving her over. "Iris Shu, would you mind taking a photo for us? After all, you're the only one who didn't participate." Iris Shu suppressed a surge of anger and reluctantly raised her phone. Ryan G. quickly walked towards Alan Shen, handing him his phone with a triumphant smile. "Class monitor, would you mind taking a photo of me and my wife?" Alan Shen's face was expressionless as he took the phone. Ryan then showed me the photo. "Is this okay?" I glanced at it and nonchalantly replied, "It's just passable." Ryan G., completely unperturbed, said naturally, "Then I'll have to trouble you again, class monitor. My wife isn't quite satisfied." Alan Shen finally couldn't take it anymore and yelled loudly at Ryan G. "Ryan G., who do you think you are?" Ryan G. slung his arm around my shoulder and flashed a brilliant smile. "Me? I'm Daisy Lamb's husband, that's what." Alan Shen's face turned ashen, and he gritted his teeth as he glared at him. "You're just a sports student, a hooligan. Do you actually think you're worthy of Little Ya and an Olympic champion? You're just dreaming in broad daylight." I took a step forward, my eyes locking with Alan Shen's, and let out a cold laugh. "Alan Shen, in the recent mock exam, if I recall correctly, you ranked 25th in the entire province. As for Ryan G's recent competition results, do you know? He ranked 2nd in the entire province and 5th nationwide. Clearly, you're the incompetent one, so how dare you look down on others?" I lightly tugged at Ryan G's sleeve, turned to him, and walked away with him, shoulder to shoulder. "Send me the photo. I want to set it as my wallpaper." Ryan G's lips curled into a playful smile. "Wait a moment. Let me edit it a bit more." I turned back to look at him, half joking, half serious. "You're a man. How are you even fairer than I am?" Ryan G. shrugged and chuckled. "That's just the pool water and chlorine for you." After school, on my way home, Alan Shen blocked my path. I frowned in annoyance. "What do you want?" He explained. "Don't you want to test into the Beijing Dance Academy? Come home, I'll tutor you in your academic subjects." "No need." In my previous life, when he tutored me, he was always incredibly impatient. He couldn't understand why I couldn't grasp such simple questions. Every time he helped me, it felt like torture. "About the performance at the school event, I was wrong. I apologize." His voice was rarely this gentle, and his demeanor was humbled. "Please don't be angry anymore, okay?" I let out a cold laugh. "Alan Shen, I've never been angry with you. You don't need to worry about my studies. If you have time to spare, go find Iris Shu and discuss poetry, literature, and the philosophy of life or something like that." "Little Ya, I don't like Iris Shu," he quickly explained, even making a promise. "For my university application, I'll put down Beijing. After graduation, we'll be together. I promise you." I furrowed my brows and directly called him out on his lie. "But didn't you and Iris Shu just apply to a renowned university abroad?" Alan Shen hastily replied, "Little Ya, I was just trying it out. I had no intention of studying abroad." I found it utterly ridiculous. In my previous life, he had also promised to go to Beijing with me. But on the day of my art entrance exam, Iris Shu deliberately told me. Alan Shen asked me where I wanted to go to university. I told him I wanted to study abroad, and so he applied to the same school as me. "Didn't he tell you?" She adopted a condescending tone, full of disdain. "Daisy Lamb, how much longer do you want to cling to him? It's clear he doesn't like you. In this world, only Alan Shen is worthy of me, and only I am worthy of him." That time, thanks to Iris Shu's provocative words, I failed to get into my dream school. In response to my questions, Alan Shen only vaguely explained that studying abroad had more advantages. He also insisted he didn't like Iris Shu. He acknowledged our relationship, giving me the official status of his girlfriend. He even said that if I just waited a few years for him to graduate, we would get married. I believed him. But when he graduated, he said he wanted to focus on his career first. Then, he and Iris Shu started a business together, seizing a golden opportunity in the industry, and their careers soared. As for me, during those years, I quietly performed in a dance troupe, neither outstanding nor drawing attention. Teachers always told me I had talent, but my dance movements lacked emotion. Alan Shen and Iris Shu became the golden couple in the media's eyes, a perfect match of status. As for his promise of marriage to me, it was postponed again and again. I glanced at the date on the calendar. The college entrance exam was drawing ever closer. Anyway, Alan Shen was about to go abroad, and I no longer had any reason to chase after him. In Ryan G's small room, the two of us, two academically struggling students, frantically crammed knowledge. Who signed the Treaty of Shimonoseki? I didn't sign it. I know it wasn't you. In the northern darkness there is a fish. Its name is kun. The kun is so vast. Can't be cooked in an iron pot? Tired of studying? Want something to eat? Sure. We were busy half the night, yet none of the knowledge seemed to stick. The next morning, as Ryan G and I stepped out, we unexpectedly ran into Alan Shen. His parents were with him. Their faces were stern, their eyes revealing shock and anger. Alan Shen was the first to speak, questioning me. Daisy, you haven't been at the school dorm at all. Have you been staying at his place for the past few days? I didn't deny it. That's right. Upon hearing this, his parents' expressions immediately changed. Daisy, you're a girl. How can you be so shameless? We've always treated you like our own daughter, raising you like a young lady since childhood, yet you've debased yourself to live with a good-for-nothing. Come home with us right now. I stood there silently, listening to their reprimands. Then, I subtly curved my lips, calmly replying, Mr. and Mrs. Shen, I am incredibly grateful for your care over the years, but I've grown up now, and I can walk my own path forward. It's true that my upbringing has cost you a significant amount over the years. However, the assets my parents left behind after their deaths have been managed by you on my behalf. The profits from those assets must surely far exceed the cost of raising me. Wouldn't you agree? I won't demand them back. Consider it my repayment for your care. But from now on, you won't need to trouble yourselves any further. I will have my lawyer handle the transfer of management. Upon hearing this, both of them immediately flew into a rage. Daisy Lamb, do you think we raised you only for your family's money? As expected, someone not of our own blood truly is different. Raising you for so many years, only for you to turn into a white-eyed wolf. Even if you weren't clever, we never once criticized you, always treating you as our future daughter-in-law. Is this how you repay us? By doing this, are you worthy of your parents in the Yellow Springs? Images from the past flashed through my mind, of a time when I naively trusted their words, only to be submerged in their cold indifference, struggling desperately. In this life, I absolutely will not allow others to trample all over me at will. Ha, you treated me like your own daughter? Saw me as your future daughter-in-law? In my previous life, everyone was absorbed in the sweet romance between Alan Shen and Iris Shu. No one knew of my existence, his official girlfriend. Unwilling to accept it, I posted online, revealing my relationship with Alan Shen. Alan Shen's parents angrily questioned me. Daisy Lamb, do you know that doing so will ruin Alan Shen's image and affect his career? He already gave you the status of his girlfriend, and we acknowledged you. What more do you want? You do nothing all day but be jealous. Look at Iris Shu, how excellent she is. But when facing the media, they replied, Daisy had an engagement with Alan since childhood. Her parents passed away early, and we felt pity, so we adopted her, always treating her as our own daughter. From a young age, she clung to Alan, calling him older brother. In an instant, my name flooded the tabloids. Childhood engagement? What era is this that forced marriages still exist? They raised her, yet she turned around and bit the hand that fed her. Truly an ungrateful wretch. Clearly, Starlight Wings is the perfect campus couple. Yet this obscure younger sister just had to butt in. I heard that when she was in school, she was a thug who often bullied Iris Shu. Desperate for fame, I heard she's just an unknown dancer. Dancing? Is it the seductive kind? One look at her face and you know it's been altered. Iris Shu's noble aura completely crushes her. During that time, my private life was dug up. I suffered cyberbullying, and I was abandoned by the whole world. And all of this was thanks to their efforts. Therefore, in this life, I absolutely will not repeat the same mistakes. Daisy Lamb, if you regret this later, don't come crying to us. Mrs. Shen furiously threw this line back at me, as if she was certain I would have a miserable life. Alan Shen stood beside them, astonished by my behavior and words, then angrily questioned, Daisy, how can you talk to my parents like that? Do you have any conscience left? I subtly curved my lips, my gaze cold, a faint smile on my face. No, I am exactly that ungrateful wretch you claim. Please, leave me be. Alan Shen's parents dragged him away, not forgetting to admonish him. Son, let's go home. Don't get involved with her ever again. I stood there silently for a long time. So long that before I could react, Ryan G suddenly embraced me. He quietly asked, his low voice resonating in my ear. Daisy Lamb, have you been deceiving me? Were you unhappy in your previous life? I blinked slightly, my eyelids trembling, my nose suddenly stinging. Actually, we weren't together only after high school graduation. I chased after you for many years, only to end up covered in wounds. When you were 25, you suffered such severe depression that you attempted suicide and accidentally fell off the stage. That's when I appeared. I said, Daisy Lamb, I'm a world champion now. I'll help you reclaim your honor. Marry me, and I'll make you the happiest woman in the world, just to spite that despicable couple. On the day we registered our marriage, I publicly declared to the media, this is my wife, the girl I've secretly loved for many years. Many people cursed me for being blind and unfollowed me en masse, but I didn't care at all. I said athletes only speak with their achievements. I took you everywhere to find doctors to treat your legs, did rehabilitation with you, and whenever you felt worried and anxious, I played music and sang for you. You held me as I slept, becoming my sole comfort. Day by day, I slowly recovered, eventually returning to the stage. I tightened my embrace, buried my head against his ear, and whispered softly, the days I spent with you were the happiest of my life. Ryan G gently patted my back. But you still came too late. Leaning against his chest, I tried to keep him from seeing my tear-filled eyes. I hadn't told him that, in truth, we weren't destined for eternal happiness together. Ryan G married me at the peak of his career. At that time, he had achieved a grand slam, becoming a national hero. But an athlete's peak period only lasts a few short years. No one can remain undefeated forever. Everyone's expectations for him were too high, to the point that if he only won second place, they would scold him, claiming I was a distraction. Until one competition, he had already been injured, and then unfortunately came down with a high fever right before the match. I was heartbroken and insisted he withdraw from the competition. But at that moment, a crazed fan rushed at me with a knife, screaming incessantly, "It's all your fault he's fallen!" Ryan G instinctively lunged to shield me. As the university entrance exams neared, Ryan G and I had to diligently catch up on academic subjects while also madly honing our specialized skills. Fortunately, in the latest competition, Ryan G had won the provincial championship. I poured all my energy into the arts exam. On the day of the exam, I held his gold medal and frantically rubbed it for good luck. Thanks to the armor buff from that gold medal, I performed steadily throughout the entire exam. I never expected to win first place in the arts exam. As soon as I stepped out of the examination room, I had originally intended to give him a big hug. Unexpectedly, I coincidentally ran into the dance idol I admired. In person, he was taller and more handsome than I had imagined, and he even proactively greeted me. "Hello, your performance was amazing!" I was overjoyed, so I immediately ordered Ryan G to take a photo of me and the dance idol. The dance idol looked at someone's darkening expression and asked curiously, "Who is he?" "Oh, he's just a classmate." On the way home, someone looked like a resentful wife. "Who's just a classmate? Why aren't you calling me your husband anymore?" "Fine. So is it true that familiarity breeds contempt?" Me. "Shut up. I'm just a third wheel, aren't I? I'm just a joke, aren't I?" Me. "Don't make me kiss you right here in front of this crowd." He immediately fell silent. I secretly poked his side. "So when do I get a kiss?" His face flushed crimson. Wait until no one's around." Not long after, university entrance exam scores were announced, and both Ryan G and I exceeded the cutoff scores. Both of us received admission letters from our dream university. What I hadn't expected was that Alan Shen didn't go study abroad. Instead, he and Iris Xu both successfully tested into the same university in Beijing. The combination of academic prodigy and genius from the same class continued to make waves at the university. They continued to frequently participate in competitions and win awards together. On the university forum, someone posted a photo of the two of them, exclaiming that they were truly a match made in heaven. In response to everyone's rumors, Alan Shen directly refuted them. "Just classmates. I already have someone I like." Later, someone discovered that he truly seemed to have someone in his heart. He enjoyed watching classical dance performances. Every time he went, he would carry a bouquet of sunflowers. Some speculated that they were for the girl he liked. At that time, we were second-year university students. Thanks to his outstanding achievements, Ryan G was selected for the national team. As for me, by acting as a substitute dancer in a hit TV drama, I became an overnight online sensation. Netizens showered me with praise. Daisy Lamb's dancing is breathtakingly beautiful, truly worthy of being the top scorer in the arts exam that year. This girl has a perfect face and figure. Why isn't she considering joining showbiz? I heard she has a performance soon. I'll have to stay up all night to snatch tickets. My theater performances were always sold out. Later, someone noticed that in the front row of every performance, there was always a young man holding a bouquet of sunflowers, quietly watching the stage. Eventually, rumors spread from who knows where that this young man was an outstanding academic prodigy from a prestigious university, and also my childhood sweetheart. Netizens began frantically shipping us. At this point, Iris Xu posted a photo of herself with Alan Shen at a competition, accompanied by the caption, "The one who understands me best." Only this time, she received nothing but criticism. "Seriously, girl? Alan Shen already denied it. You're just classmates. Why are you trying to ride on their coattails? Big sis, are you desperate for fame or what?" Iris Xu, back in school, she looked down on everyone because of her high grades. Everyone disliked her. What does their childhood sweetheart relationship have to do with you? What makes you so confident Alan Shen would like you? Clearly scheming and malicious, her figure, looks, and aura are completely overshadowed by Daisy Lam. The online rumors became unbelievably heated. Alan Shen's parents even gave interviews to the media, declaring, "Daisy, she is truly our daughter-in-law. She and little Alan are childhood sweethearts, betrothed since childhood. After Daisy's parents passed away, we welcomed her into our home, supported her dance studies, and loved her as our own daughter." Seeing the couple's completely different attitude from before, I only found it laughable. I refused all their attempts at reconciliation, and instead I turned around and posted the contract drawn up by lawyers that year. It clearly detailed the amount of money they had profited from my family's assets over the years. I thought these two were so kind, but it turns out they completely devoured someone else's family fortune. Daisy started learning dance at 7 years old. How could you possibly claim to have raised her? You bleed others dry and still demand their gratitude? Don't you feel any shame? Numerous reporters constantly questioned me about my relationship with Alan Shen. "I heard you and Alan Shen are childhood sweethearts." I thought for a moment. Just from the same village, not close. Afterward, I posted on Weibo, tagging Ryan G. "This is my unofficial husband." In the blink of an eye, Ryan G's follower count surged dramatically. Oh my God, as expected of Daisy's choice. He's so handsome, he should be surrendered to the nation. Tall and well-built with endlessly long legs, I can't imagine how comfortable it would be to lie on him. What kind of heavenly match is this? I'm shipping this so hard. That night, I slept on his 8-pack abs, feeling incredibly happy. Someone was no longer the easily blushing teenager he once was when touched. His techniques were incredibly varied, and he was very dedicated. I gradually couldn't take it anymore. We'd already swam 3,000 meters, yet he still had so much energy left. Let's sleep, I'm utterly exhausted, I yelled in protest, clutching his playful hand. Button up my shirt right now. He deftly slipped away, his voice low and husky. Wifey, how can we possibly sleep dressed like this? After the performance, I saw Alan Shen again. He really was the worst. Back then, when I pursued him, he couldn't have cared less. Now that I'm avoiding him, he clings on like a stray dog. He clutched a bouquet of flowers, his expression utterly desolate. Daisy, I understand. I've done many things in the past that hurt you. But I truly like you. For all these years, I always believed you'd eventually turn back to look at me. He bowed his head, his voice raspy, his eyes bloodshot. I don't understand why you suddenly stopped caring about me. I took a deep breath, fighting to remain calm, but the memories of my past life surged forth like a desperate nightmare. Alan Shen, I had a dream. After graduation, you abandoned me to study abroad with Iris Shu. You promised we'd marry once you finished. I waited, and when you finally graduated, you said you needed to establish your career first, telling me to wait even longer. Then you and Iris Shu co-founded a business. Day after day, you were inseparable, understanding each other perfectly, becoming the golden couple in everyone's eyes. No one knew I was your girlfriend. I pleaded with you then, begged you to come see my performance, just once, to give me even a single flower, and I would have forgiven you. But you never came, not even once. He stood there stunned, as if unable to believe his ears. I looked at him, offering a bitter smile. You said, what's there to see on such a small stage? You even asked, do you even know how busy I am? Yes, you were busy dating Iris Shu, busy ringing the bell on the NASDAQ floor with her, traveling the world, and introducing each other to your families. I waited for you for so many years, indignant, but what good did that do? Everyone thought I was a wicked meddler. In truth, I was sick for a long time. Eventually, I went mad, attempting suicide countless times. Faced with my emotional burden, you grew annoyed, saying, "Isn't marrying you enough?" But on the eve of our wedding, Iris Shu sent me her pregnancy report, and I, in a fit of panic, fell from the stage, becoming permanently disabled. I closed my eyes, my throat choked with bitterness. Eventually, your parents gave me a sum of money, telling me to live or die on my own. He was stunned, hurriedly trying to explain. How could I do such a thing? I'm not that kind of person, Daisy. I've told you before, I'll always protect you. That was just a dream. I coldly shook my head. No, it wasn't. Alan Shen, I may not be brilliant, but I'm certainly not foolish. I looked directly at him. Do you truly like me? No, you just couldn't stand to lose me. You were clever enough to know what I liked, what made me unhappy, and exactly how to appease me, yet you deliberately chose not to, leaving me to endure humiliation again and again. You just reveled in my admiration and Iris Shu's devotion. You wanted it all. Take your cheap excuse for love and get lost. I don't need it, and you certainly don't deserve it. After joining the national team, Ryan G began participating in international competitions. He constantly broke his own records. The entire world bore witness to his burgeoning brilliance. As for me, once I'd gained a modicum of fame, I poured all my energy into preparing for the Peach Plum Cup. The Peach Plum Cup is the most prestigious award in the dance world. My mother's biggest regret in life was never winning the championship. I'd vowed to myself that I absolutely had to pour my heart into making up for that regret for her. Ryan G and I, though in love, met very rarely. On those rare occasions we could be together, we'd meet up near school. We'd only just taken a few steps when, unexpectedly, a car careened around the corner and sped straight towards us. Ryan G reacted almost instantly, shoving me behind him. A loud crash echoed, and both of us tumbled to the ground. Memories of his blood-soaked image from my past life flashed relentlessly in my mind, my heart squeezed by an invisible hand. My entire body trembled, and I shrieked his name, my voice raw. "Ryan G! Wifey, I'm fine. Truly, I'm fine." He awkwardly tried to soothe me. Don't cry. It's just a little scratch. I'm really okay." Tears streaming, I tremblingly touched his face, too choked up to speak. "You fool, you scared me to death." "Not dead. I'm not dead." I clung tightly to him. "From now on, you're forbidden to get hurt, forbidden to bleed, forbidden to shield me again." He continuously nodded. Okay. But I knew, no matter how many times we went back, in that moment of danger, he would still instinctively protect me. After a long while, we finally calmed down. It was only then that we realized the person in the car was none other than Iris Shu. "Daisy Lamb, you're still not dead yet." She stared at me, her face deathly pale, her eyes utterly devoid of life. But her face had changed completely. It looked incredibly fake, bearing all the hallmarks of extensive plastic surgery. Rumors had circulated previously that Iris Shu was obsessively altering her face. I hadn't paid them much mind, but it turned out they were true. A former classmate once recounted how she had confessed her feelings to Alan Shen. Alan Shen had flatly rejected her, telling her that her actions were truly beneath her dignity. Iris Shu, indignant, demanded to know why. Alan Shen frowned and retorted, "Stop being so nosy. Look in the mirror more often. Perhaps you'll find your answer there." At the time, many online had condemned her as ugly inside and out. She then embarked on a spree of plastic surgeries, but the more she altered her face, the more dissatisfied she became. Her family wasn't wealthy, it was said, and she soon began taking out loans online. Her studies were severely disrupted, and the school even issued disciplinary action. Eventually, unable to repay her debts, she even resorted to becoming a middle-aged boss's mistress. Iris Shu glared at me like a mad woman, her voice raw as she shrieked, "It's all your fault! My whole life has been ruined by you!" "Daisy Lamb, what right do you have to be loved by everyone while I'm forced to live in the shadows? I'm clearly so much more talented than you," I offered a calm smile. "Perhaps that's just karma." Gazing at the girl who had once been so arrogant, now reduced to such a pathetic state before me, I remained silent for a moment before speaking. "Call the police." The year I graduated from university, my efforts were not in vain. I clinched the Peach Plum Cup championship. The moment I stepped off the stage, I saw him, a figure clutching a fresh bouquet, waving frantically. I joyfully rushed into his arms, asking, "Did I dance well?" "Drop-dead gorgeous, like a captivating enchantress." He gazed at me, his eyes filled with adoration. "You questioned the master, understood the master, and now you are the master." That same year, Ryan G represented the nation at the Olympic Games. At 22, he plunged into the water with extraordinary speed and determination, shattering the world record and surpassing himself once again. During the award ceremony, as he looked up and watched the 5-starred national flag slowly rise, his eyes reddened. When interviewed by the domestic reporters, he couldn't help but burst into tears. "Thank you, Motherland. Thank you, Coach. Thank you, my wife." His voice was choked with emotion, tears falling in steady drops. The more he cried, the more overwhelmed he became. Eventually, the reporters had to gather around to console him. Just then, as if remembering something, he awkwardly pulled a diamond ring from his pocket. His hands trembled, tears still flowing. The reporters, at a loss, looked at me helplessly and quickly urged, "Please, just say yes or we'll never get him to stop." I looked at this man who was making such a scene, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. I quickly walked over and embraced him, sliding the ring onto my finger. All right. I said yes. A long while later, he blushed and asked me, "Wife, did I just make a fool of myself?" I sighed. Not entirely." He raised both hands in assurance. Next time, I definitely won't cry again." I remained silent, rolling my eyes at him. He said that every time, and every time he cried buckets. Half the pool might as well have been his tears. In the years that followed, Ryan G continued to represent the nation, achieving one glory after another. As for me, through my own efforts, I also stepped onto bigger stages. At 28, Ryan G no longer had the strength to swim. He retired, his career full of accolades. I, too, ceded the stage to younger dancers, returning to the lecture hall to become a teacher. That year, we started planning for children. I anxiously asked him, "Do you think our child will be, well, not very smart?" He replied, "If they are talented, they will serve the country. If ordinary, they will be our joy and comfort." Neither of us had ever experienced a complete family or truly fulfilling love. We would raise our child with the same love and care we wished we had received in our own childhoods. 10 years after graduation, we were invited back to school to attend the anniversary ceremony as distinguished alumni. Some former classmates also came along. Suddenly, someone mentioned, "Hey, have you heard anything about Alan Shen? It seems his family went bankrupt. I heard that right after graduation, he invested in real estate development and made a lot of money. But then the real estate market crashed, his capital dried up, and his other investments also took a heavy hit. Now his company is bankrupt, and he's even facing forced liquidation." Hearing that, I was momentarily stunned. The name felt strangely distant. Someone suddenly turned and asked, "Hey, Daisy, you liked him back then, didn't you?" I frantically shook my head. "Absolutely not." End.